Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good to see you both. I was actually going to ask you about the internship program, so I'm glad that you raised that and fully agree and would look forward to working with you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Zeldin, on any statutory fix that might be necessary. Wanted to ask you a couple of other questions about, well, one about recruitment of talent. As you all know, the State Department used to rely basically on two tests to determine who is an FSO, and there was another layer added to the process, another step that was added, the qualifications evaluation panel, right, where applicants submit resumes for screening in advance. And I'm wondering if you've asked your team to try to collect any data on the impact of that additional step, either positive or negative, in terms of encouraging diverse applicants to be listed on the FSO register.
Thank you, Congressman Malinowski. It's great to see you again. It's been a number of years. So yes, when the QAP was introduced, the idea was to put in another step that would allow those who perhaps were not great test takers, both in a written form or an oral form, to give more of their background. So they respond to questions, so there's essays, and it gives them an opportunity to tell more about themselves. And I don't have the figures in front of me, but that has enhanced our diversity efforts, and we can get you so it's been a positive news story. I do think we need to take another look at this. Are we doing the right thing still? This has been a very incremental process over the years. We use well-known industrial psychologists to make sure that we're doing the right thing. Dr. Campion has been on our team with us for over 20 years. He's a distinguished professor at Purdue University. So we want to make sure that we're making sure there's absolutely no bias in the system, right, and yet we need to go forward. So it's going to be, we have the two big studies that we have to do for the GAO, but this is something that we're also taking a look at. Are we missing something here that we could do even better? I'm not sure it's necessarily that we're doing a bad job, but could we do better?
Okay. And what about the resumes themselves? Have you considered a system where certain types of identifiable information are redacted from those resumes, personally identifying that might make it clear to reviewers what the person's background might be?
So I'm going to have to take this back, but my understanding is that they are redacted to a certain extent so that the individuals who are doing those QEPs are not aware of certain identifiable information. I think just a reminder, everybody has to self-identify, by the way, so already we know that we would not necessarily know if somebody was a person of color or was a minority, because we just don't collect that unless people identify themselves as such. But I will take that back and get you an answer.
Okay. And then finally, I did want to go off topic for a moment, and this is it's a sensitive issue. It's one that the committee has, I think, sought to ask you some questions about in the past, and has to do with our mutual friend, Ambassador Yovanovitch, and what she told us about a conversation she'd had with you during all of the drama that we were all debating here not too long ago. She testified that at one point you had called her at 1 in the morning and told her that, quote, this is quoting Masha, that there was a lot of concern for her and that she needed to be on the next plane home to Washington, and that this was a matter involving her security. And I think Ambassador Yovanovitch asked you, is there a threat here in Ukraine? And you said not necessarily not necessarily physical security. And so my question for you is, what did you mean? What was the impression that you had that there was some issue related to her security? It couldn't have been job security if it was a 1 a.m. phone call. So what was it?
Actually, it was job security. It was not physical security because of the time difference. The phone call, she was at a reception. By the time we were able to connect, it was quite late in the evening. No, there was concern that, she had lost confidence from the president, and I'm a former ambassador. If the president lost confidence in me, I would want to know. And I think I'd want to be back in Washington so that I could address the issues there. And so that call was just made out of that context.
Okay. I'm out of time. Thank you.